watching the RebZone Sports Show on Fox 5.
Straight ahead in the RebZone, a disaster at Sam Boyd as New Mexico comes in and smokes the Rebels in all three phases of the game. Head coach Tony Sanchez is in studio to break down what happened. Plus, we'll look at this week's chance to rebound at Utah State and a profile of UNLV linebacker Gabe McCoy. The RebZone is here for the good times and the bad, and we're getting it started right now.
This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
Good evening. Welcome inside the RebZone. Kevin Bollinger alongside UNLV head football coach Tony Sanchez after what can only be described as a horrific game on Saturday. We're not going to sugarcoat things around here.
Yep.
I don't think anybody saw this coming. What in the heck happened?
You know, the toughest thing was talking to the team after the game, you know, and explaining my disappointment. You know, this is a game that is a physical game, and it's an emotional game. And we went out there and we played extremely flat, non-emotional, non-physical, and that's what happened. I mean, I don't care who you play on any Saturday. If you're not going to engage your opponent, if you're not going to commit to the physicality that you need to play with, which we've done for 4 weeks, we showed up, we played fat, played non-physical, and you saw the results. We got our butt kicked.
We're going to talk about this in depth, about the entire game. First, though, we want to show everyone what happened.
We got to move these guys out of the pocket. Hit! Great, nice shot. Let's go get these guys. GMB on 3. 1, 2, 3, GMB.
The heavy winds blew in just before kickoff, and UNLV had the wind at their back in the first quarter. After forcing a quick 3-and-out, Max Gillum took the field, replacing the injured Armani Rogers. But a bad snap on second down dug a hole, resulting in a 3-and-out, which was a sign of things to come. New Mexico worked towards midfield, but on third down, Jericho Flowers broke up the pass and the Rebels got the ball back. But on third down for UNLV, Lexington Thomas was stuffed for no gain, forcing another quick punt. On UNLV's third possession, Gillum is picked off by Toi Evalahotu, who returns it 35 yards to the Rebel 14-yard line. First play of the second quarter, Zanir Schuler pounds it in for a touchdown. The point after was blocked, but New Mexico had a 6-0 lead. The Rebels offense continued to struggle and once again went 3-and-out, giving the Lobos field position at their own 44. On the first play, the reverse to Elijah Lilly, and he goes for 19 yards to the Rebel 37. 3rd and 3 at the 30. Quarterback Sherion Jones keeps it himself and gets 17 to the 13-yard line. Then Javen White comes up with a huge hit and forces a fumble, but the Rebels go for the scoop instead of falling on the ball. New Mexico recovers and keeps possession in the red zone. That led to this 1-yard touchdown run by Tyrone Owens. The PAT was wide right, and it was 12-0 New Mexico. After the kickoff, another bad snap and loss of 10 yards, which led to another 3-and-out. The heavy winds led to a 23-yard punt and more good field position for the Lobos at the Rebel 39. New Mexico would get a 43-yard field goal out of that possession, and the lead was extended to 15-0. The wheels kept spinning for the offense as the 3-and-outs continued to pile up, and the defense was back on the field. The Lobos went downfield, and Jones finds Lilly. The defender falls down, and it's a 74-yard scoring pass as things continue to go from bad to worse. New Mexico's lead was built to 22-0. Finally, with 1:51 left in the half, UNLV got its first down of the game as Gillum hit Kendall Keys for 11 yards, which elicited a Bronx cheer from the crowd. But the drive would stall, and the Lobos got the ball back with 1:13 left in the half and dug the hole deeper. Jones to Anselm Ume for the 26-yard touchdown with 17 seconds left. The Bluebirds were out at Sam Boyd as the Rebels went into the locker room down 29-0. After the Rebels started the second half with yet another 3 and out, it looked like they had a momentum shift. New Mexico's Jay Griffin catches the pass, but UNLV forced a fumble. Javen White picks it up, gets to the other side of the field, and goes the distance for an apparent UNLV touchdown. But it went to replay. And keep an eye on the umpire, who never blew his whistle, but raised his arms. The official said that made the play dead. The Rebels' score was wiped off the board, but they did get the ball. It looked like UNLV would go 3 and out again, but the call for the fake punt, and Hayes Hickens scrambles 14 yards. That moves the chains for only the second time in the game. Gillum would get sacked, one of 5 times that would happen in the game, and another punt for UNLV, who could not convert. New Mexico made them pay and essentially put the game away with a 10-play, 89-yard drive that ended with a 33-yard touchdown pass to Emmon Harris on 3rd and 12. It was 36-0 heading into the fourth quarter. UNLV finally got something working on offense in the fourth as they put together a 9-play, 75-yard drive, capped by Gillum throwing a 19-yard touchdown pass to Brandon Presley. The Rebels were on the board, but still down 36-7. Another mistake set up the Lobos, who were punting. Rather than a fair catch, they let it drop. The call out to get away, but it hits Alex Perry in the back. New Mexico recovers, and that led to another Lobo touchdown on the very next play as Jones found Delane Hart-Johnson and make it 43-7. New Mexico would score again to hit the 50 mark, but the Rebels did get in one final drive to try and build on something. 80 yards in 11 plays, and Gillum to Darren Woods Jr. This was a game, though, where nothing went right. UNLV with only 166 yards of total offense, including 43 yards net rushing. They give up 502 yards defensively, and they get beat in every phase of the game as the Lobos come into Sam Boyd and roll 50-14.
Each individual person's just got to figure out what they can do better, especially me. I got to figure out what I can do better and just build off it.
When we came out, you could just feel it, that it wasn't that spark that we usually have in our previous games. It wasn't just that emotion. You just didn't feel that in the air. And I think we learned our lesson the hard way, unfortunately. And I mean, we can only grow and improve from here.
Let's start with the offense. They couldn't move the chains at all, and it wasn't just necessarily one position group. It seemed like it was spread all around.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the first half of football, 48 snaps were on defense and 23 on offense. I mean, that's not going to turn out too well. It was a tough start. With Max, we had the errant snap. That ended up being the fumble on the second play, and then we get in the second possession, we throw the interception. So he was pretty rattled early on, but later on he settled down. But I'll tell you what, I'm so disappointed. We had 8 drop balls by the wide receivers. I thought we ran the ball softly. Offensive line did a decent job in the run block, but we gave up 5 sacks overall in the game. I mean, it's just, like I said at the beginning, we just weren't physical. I didn't recognize that group going out there. And just like Altsy said at that little clip you just had of them, we just did not play with a lot of emotion. And you have to. This is an emotional game. It's a physical game. And you saw a total lack of physicality, something we had not seen before. So really disappointed in that, and that's something we're going to be getting after about all week.
One of the things, too, when you have so many 3 and outs, the defense was on the field a lot. And I think they wore down a little bit at the end of the first half when they bunched up a little bit, and certainly wore down there towards the end of the game.
There's no doubt. When you think about all the bad things, not moving the ball on offense, defensively, giving up big chunks, they were taking a lot of time off the clock. With 4 minutes and 20 seconds, it was a 15-point game. I mean, that's very manageable. You get into halftime with a 15-point game, you're fine. Well, offense, turns the ball over again. We get the short punt, they score. Okay, great. We're finally moving the ball down. Maybe we get a chance to score a touchdown. There's a minute and 50 seconds left. We sure as heck shouldn't give up another one. We do end up having to cough the ball up, pump the ball again. They go down, they hit a big one, they score, make it 29-0. I mean, in a short amount of time, we sure stubbed our toe pretty bad.
Seemed like there was a lot of east-west going on instead of north-south yesterday.
A lot of that's the running backs. And believe me, we talked to them. I mean, we had some fly sweeps, but there's a lot of times where that ball's got to hit up the middle. I've got some clips I'm going to show our guys, some of their, New Mexico backs getting downhill, and on first down, you have a 3 or 4 yard run. That's a whole different deal when you're calling snaps and you have a 2nd and 6 rather than a 2nd and 8 or a 2nd and 9. And, our guys I thought we did a poor job of not physically engaging, even when it came to running the ball.
Max Gillum gets to start at quarterback.
Yep.
Armani Rogers, we all know, is injured. How would you assess his play yesterday?
Well, early on it was a little shaky. You know, I mean, on that straight stop route, you know, he went to the inside. You know, they had a zone blitz. He didn't see the backer fall underneath it. You know, he's been throwing the ball outside all week. Later in the game, he settled down and did that. Thought as the game went on, he looked better. He got more settled. Yeah, that was a tough one, but, you know, again, as the game went on, I thought he looked better, and he'll be better and better each week. You know, we got to get Kenyon more and more up to speed, you know, being a college player, understanding what's going on, to have him available. But, you know, obviously with Armani being out for a long period of time, we're going to have to play better at that spot.
You touched on the running game briefly, and it is the bread and butter of this offense in terms of doing that. At one point in the second half, your leading rusher was your punter.
Yeah.
And that's with that group of running backs, that is something that we never, I think, imagined seeing. How much is it a gut check time for that group?
It's a gut check time for the whole team. I mean, again, when you look at the 4 weeks of football we played coming up to this game, you know, I mean, when you're sitting there, you're at 2-2. You know, you played each game, though, you played tough. I mean, each game, you know, in the fourth quarter, whether you win or lose, you know, you got an opportunity, you know, and to show up and to put that on film, that's unbelievable. So it's a gut check for everybody, myself, everybody.
So there was the one play, to look at one play specifically, early in the first half, or it was actually late in the first half, I should say, in the second quarter, the fumble, went for the scoop.
Yeah.
And it's one of those plays, and we've talked about it before, the kids want to make plays, and it's instinct to do that. But if you fall on the ball there, they don't get the ball back, they don't score a touchdown, and you're talking about a huge momentum swing.
Well, that's something you actually drill. We do it all the time. It's one of our special teams drills, and, you know, we have a bunch of bags laying around, and if we roll the ball into the bags, that means, you know, it's dirty, right? There's a lot of things going on. You fall on it. If it's clean, then you pick it up and go. After watching back on it, you know, I got to talk to Gabe about it, but, you know, you couldn't tell me, is he trying to fall on that ball, or is he trying to scoop and score? It's hard to tell right there. He kind of gets tripped up by number 5. That was unfortunate, because that was one of those momentum deals, and, you know, we just weren't real emotional like you've seen us. You know, normally, I mean, even when we made plays, you didn't see our guys get emotional. So we needed something like that to happen. Kind of like with that scoop and score touchdown that we ended up getting, and the official accidentally, you know, blew it dead or did whatever he did. You know, we needed something like that good to happen for us, and unfortunately it didn't.
All right, our special teams conversation of the week, and it seems like we're having a conversation about special teams every week. There were 2 plays that stood out. Early punt that ended up going into the end zone that could have easily been you know, put down inside the 5, and then later on the UNLV punt with the poison call, hits a guy right in the back. Those mistakes just keep happening.
They do, and, you know, it's they're mechanical issues, and they're unacceptable. I mean, that first one, when we get the deep punt, which you're showing right now, I mean, you know, if you've circled the ball, then you can go ahead and put your back to the goal line. In that situation, he's running sideways on it. You grab that ball right away. I don't care if it's on the 6 to 5. You're not in a position to down it at the 1, so you grab it right away. And then on this right here, this is not the fault of the guy whose back it hits. That ball lands at the 10-yard line. That's got to be caught. Our Hill should be at 7. Mackay, you see him nowhere near the ball. He should have been over there fielding that ball. And we've got to get some guys that have some courage. They're going to go underneath that ball and catch it.
We have been, you know, focusing obviously on a lot of bad things, and there were a lot of bad things yesterday. Is there anything positive that you take out of that game yesterday?
Dude, I didn't see anything positive in that game. I mean, I think the offensive line, we went back and watched it, run block-wise, they played pretty physical and did a couple of good things. There's a couple individual guys on defense that did some really good things. I like the fact that Max settled down and threw the ball well, you know, towards the end. Didn't completely wave the white flag, but there was way more negatives than positives, obviously, by the final score. So this is, like you said, it's a gut check time. I mean, we've got to get ourselves going. If we commit to playing physical, playing smart football like we had leading up into this game, we have a chance to win a bunch of football games. But if we're not going to engage, if we're not going to, you know, celebrate the opportunity to go out and compete at the highest levels on Saturdays, this will be something that continues to happen. So I believe in our guys. I'm really disappointed in them right now. Again, not in the execution, I'm disappointed in the passion and the physicality that we played with. It's unacceptable. It's not who we are.
We're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, we're going to look ahead to Saturday's game at Utah State. The Aggies always tough. Logan, as we know, never an easy place to win. So what is it going to take to get back on track? Find out in 2 minutes as the Red Zone rolls on.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
This Saturday, the Rebels hit the road with a chance for redemption against a very tough Utah State team.
The road
does not get any easier in the Mountain West. Utah State might just be the best team in the conference this season. 4-1 so far, including a huge blowout win at rival BYU on Friday night. The Aggies are rolling, and a lot of it has to do with quarterback Jordan Love. Head coach Matt Wells says he's seen him grow all the time.
The number one job of a quarterback is to get the other 10 guys around him to play above and beyond their limits or their capabilities or their talent level. And so, first of all, you do it by production, and you do it by leadership. And so, hopefully, those are two attributes that Jordan continues to move towards.
It helps when you have all 5 offensive linemen coming back, which Utah State does. In 168 dropbacks this year, Love has only been sacked 5 times.
Chemistry is huge. That we obviously built through 13 long games last season, and it's a totally different feeling than it was last year when we stepped into Wisconsin and we had 5 new guys who didn't know what to expect.
Defensively, the Aggies are always stout, consistently turning out linebackers and defensive backs to the NFL. They have ramped up that part of the game as well. Then there's playing in Logan, never an easy place to go to. It's loud with a rabid fan base, and the atmosphere should be electric. A tough challenge for the Rebels, but also a chance to show that last week was a fluke and that they're capable of putting things together.
All right, let's start with Jordan Love, the quarterback. Very talented, young player, came in midway through the season last season and kind of led them through to a bowl game. And it seems like he's really grown a lot so far this season as well.
He has. I mean, they're playing exceptional football right now. I mean, I think their one loss is at Michigan State, and that's a game that they had to lead late in the game. So they're playing really, really good football. Put it on BYU this last week. So they're going to give us all we can handle. We had a pretty good game going with them last year until Armani went down and got hurt, and and obviously we're dealing with that again. But we got to problem solve that thing and go in there and be physical and do the best we can to rattle him. They, like I said, those 5 guys up front do a really good job of protecting him. A lot of explosive weapons around him. So it'll be a heck of a challenge.
The UNLV response is, I think, what everybody's going to be looking at. When will you know? Will you know Monday morning when you have them at practice if they're back and engaged and if this is the character group?
No, they'll be. And here's the thing, our messaging to them this week is going to be about their physicality and the way they play. That's all I care about right now is them being engaged, being emotional, and being physical. Again, we can never put that on film again the way we did. And if we go with the mindset that we're going to engage these guys in a physical confrontation, then we'll be all right.
All right, time for another short break for us. When we come back, a feature on UNLV linebacker Gabe McCoy, who's starting to get recognized as the terror that he is on defense. That is next in the Red Zone. Stick and stay.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
The UNLV defense has taken it up a notch most of the season, and there is one player that has stood out, linebacker Gabe McCoy, making sure that he not only leaves his mark on a game, but on the whole team as well.
When you watch UNLV play defense, keep an eye on number 25. He's all over the field. That's Gabe McCoy, the junior linebacker from the Bay Area, who has quickly become a weapon for the Rebels. He was good last year. He's been extraordinary this year.
Just strengthen my mentality. I just told myself I really want to win this year. It's time. It's about time we win. So I just told myself I was going to be more of a leader and bring more juice. I was bringing juice last year, but bring more.
The energy McCoy brings spreads to the entire defense. He says they've got a different swagger this year.
I think we're just more excited. We're real aggressive too. Especially on defense, we talk a lot of more crap to the offense. Now, we're real excited. We got a lot more juice. I'd say that the most. We got a lot more juice.
McCoy says it helps going up against UNLV's offense and practice every day, helping them prepare for Saturdays.
It's just great because we get a good look. We're one of the best rushing teams in the country. So when we playing around defense, it's like we're going to get some really good, look.
As much as McCoy stands out, it is a team defense, and he says that means everybody from the top to the bottom.
We do a lot of extra film, a lot of extra talking. We make sure everybody knows, not just the starters or the twos. Make sure the threes know too, because anybody might play. Seven might have him, 3 might have to come in and play. So we make sure everybody know the game and we own it.
As a linebacker, McCoy has to make sure he's ready for the run-pass option quarterbacks that are so prevalent in today's game. The decision-making is based on preparation.
Just being able to, watch film and really be into the quarterback and into the game, that's along with us talking together too. Everybody has to talk, everybody has a job to do, and it's just making sure everybody do the right job, and we all helping each other out, reading keys and falling together.
McCoy isn't afraid to put a team on his back. The ultimate warrior, who's also a team player. He'll be one to keep an eye on for the rest of his Rebel career.
It's been fascinating to watch this guy's growth since he first came here. He has really skyrocketed into being, one of the best players, not only on the defense, but on the whole team.
No doubt. I mean, he came in at 195 pounds, and now he's walking around about 225, so he had to get his body right over the last couple of years. But he's explosive, and, even yesterday he did some really good things, but he's had a good year so far, and we need him to continue to bring that energy to get us going.
We are going to take one final break. We're back to wrap up the Red Zone right after this.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
All right, thanks for the candid conversation, Coach. I think it was something that everybody kind of wanted to hear you break everything down, and now it's time to answer the bell for this week.
Hey, absolutely, man. You got to go right back to work again. We're going to, I said it a million times on the show, but physical. We have to engage. We got to bring some energy, and we got to collect ourselves and go play a great game on Saturday night.
That is a 1 o'clock kickoff in the afternoon on Saturday. We'll have all the highlights for you on Fox 5 News at 10, and we'll break it down next Sunday in the Red Zone. That's a wrap for this one. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Good night.
Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show was presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.